Oh, welcome all to the Snail Trail 4x4 podcast. If you like going off-roading in Toyotas, wrenching on Toyotas, camping in Toyotas, and maybe even poking a little bit of fun at Toyotas, and of course, hearing some really bad dad jokes revolving around Toyotas, then this is the podcast for you. That's right, ladies and germs. My name is Tyler, and joining me for another episode today is bad dad joke himself, Jimmy Jet. How you doing, man?
I am doing very well. Thanks for asking. How are you?
I was doing good up until that last joke.
Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
I know. It wasn't my fault. Came out of the box.
What's in your box, Jimmy?
Jokes,
apparently.
Dad jokes. Somewhere it says how many are in there. How many were in there? I don't know.
300?
600.
600?
600 dad jokes.
300 cards, double-sided?
Yep.
Wow.
You're good at math.
We're almost done with these yet?
We're almost done with the first pack.
Okay.
Side.
The first side. So we're almost done with 300. All right.
No. So we've been going through the blue ones.
Okay.
And we're on to the next. We'll move to the red ones.
That's not 300 cards, is it?
Well, no, this is one pack. There's 3 packs.
We've only done one side of one pack.
Yeah. And then
Jesus
there's
Christ.
green to purple.
Oh my God.
And then there's orange to blue, a light blue.
Okay.
So you got a lot of more bad dad jokes coming your way.
I might quit the podcast.
No, we got to finish all these first.
Okay.
Yeah. You can't quit until we're done with them.
All right. I'm not a quitter.
There you go.
Not a quitter.
Okay, and then we can move on to this book that somebody gave us, 365 Days of Bad Jokes.
Hey, Ryan, I'm going to need you to come into the warehouse.
Or the this one, 101 days.
Oh, man. Anyways, happy Monday to everybody out there. Hopefully you guys had a phenomenal weekend. We're into June and we're rocking and rolling along. Summer is here in Sacramento for sure.
Yeah, it is.
I think last week we had, what was it, 105 and 102?
Something like that.
Something
it was
like
hot.
that. Friday and Saturday to last weekend.
This last weekend is up in upper 90s.
Yep.
Woo. Good thing I went to the coast.
Good thing I put air conditioning back in the 400.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, man. So cool. Yeah, we'll hear about your coast trip.
Yep.
I'm curious to hear about the trailer.
Yeah, the Virgin Voyage.
The Virgin Voyage. Yeah.
Go find the other podcast.
Yeah, that'll be out there on the other podcast. We'll go over it a little bit too on Thursday's episode this week. So you guys got to wait until then. If you want to find the other podcast, I think it comes out, was that on Tuesdays?
Wednesdays.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you guys can listen to it over there first if you want. Let's see.
I didn't want to conflict with the Wheeling Wine and Whiskey schedule.
That's fair. You know, I'd hate to steal all their listeners.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially for that podcast. That's like, it'd be unfair. Anyways, so we got Monday here for you guys. We have a couple little bits of housekeeping for the month of June. We do have our giveaway going on as always. The monthly giveaway this month is a really cool party pack from Jimmy and I. So from SnailTrail4x4. So that's the company we're partnering with this month, SnailTrail4x4. Go us! It's really cool. We're actually putting together like an entertainment party pack kind of thing. You can take it out camping if you want. There are glass items available to you. But we're going to give the winner a $200 budget to go shopping for a menu of items that includes laser engraved whiskey glasses, pint glasses, tumblers, smoker, whiskey smokers, some charcuterie board options, some slate options, a lot of really cool little fun things in there that turn out really cool once they're lasered engraved. So, and then we can do, I think we're offering up some custom laser engraving, or we just do the Snail Trail logo if that's what you guys want. So.
Yep. Sure.
Lots of really cool options there. You'll get to go shopping and pick out exactly what you want, how many of each item you want. And then we'll get it all made, produced, and sent out to you.
Absolutely. Sounds good. If you want to be a part of that and have a chance to win a party pack from Tyler and I, you have to go over to iRate 4x4, go down to the watch, listen, and discuss section, click on the Snail Trail 4x4 forum, which is the first one.
Because it's the best one.
Exactly. and then sign up for the giveaway tier.
Mhm.
Sign up options would be on your right side if you're on a PC, and if you're on mobile, they're down at the bottom.
Yep. Let's see, what else do we got? We have treasure hunt tokens.
Yeah.
Is there an update there?
I think one got hidden. I haven't heard an update about it yet, but one batch has been made.
Okay.
And as far from what I know, we have a very special listener that took one and hid it somewhere.
He is pretty special.
And since we're future casting, I hid one this weekend also.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. So
Cool.
that's exciting. We're going to get those going. We're going to figure out, we still need to figure out some logistics on the back end.
Yep.
With Onyx Off-Road and how we are going to distribute this, whether we make it public or put it under a firewall for the paid subscribers. Tyler and I need to discuss that further and figure it out. And then once we get that done, we will release all the ones that we know that are hidden, that we just hid or have been hidden for a while. We will release all those.
Yep. So we'll get those out for you guys. We revamped the design of the tokens so that it works a little bit easier and better for producing them in larger quantities, larger scale. So now that is done, we can start pumping them out and getting them out into the wild. So get in contact with us if you're interested in hiding some. If you hide them, that will make you ineligible for any of the grand prizes that we do off the treasure hunt token game. So
yeah,
sorry,
we'll figure it. Yeah, cool. We need to, there's some things that we need to discuss for sure. I do think that, at minimum, you're not eligible of finding that token.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we might do a radius area that you can't find tokens in or something. I'm not sure how we do it.
So that's the update on treasure tokens. We're going to start getting more out into the wild, especially this summer here. So keep an ear out for when the Onyx folder becomes available. We'll put that in the show notes and include it in a few different places for you guys. So there's Onyx. Let's see. We got 4-Wheel Underground stuff on the vehicles. One is getting built with Samantha with a bunch of 4-Wheel Underground stuff, which is really exciting. I'm really kind of curious to see. I ended up with the new springs, the iBox on the front end. We had to, in order to get the rig sitting level, we had to put like 2 inches of preload into the springs. Oh, into the front springs.
Okay.
And so now, but with the rig fully loaded down with all the camping gear for Memorial Day, it had a pretty big squat in it.
Sure.
So I think what I want to try and do now is add a little bit of preload to the rear suspension and release a little bit of preload on the front. That way, driving around town unloaded, it'll have a little bit of a rake to it. And then hopefully once it's loaded down with gear, it won't be squatted.
More level.
It'll be a little bit more level.
Sure.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That's my next step for playing around with the suspension.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to actually lower the front of the Tacoma.
Yeah.
Because it's a little high now. And then when I put the trailer on it, it becomes much more high.
Oh yeah.
And not that it's any unsafe driving. It's totally fine, but I just don't want it to be, I would prefer it to be more level while it's connected to the trailer.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Any other updates? What else do we got?
Well, we have our reviews giveaway going on, which is coming super close to getting done because we are very close to hitting 750 reviews. Yep. When we last checked, we had 25 more to go, and that is up to 750. So we're at 725. So there's 25, or at least there was 25 more spots to get in. And if you are one of those people that get in before we hit 750, then you have a chance to win a set of tires from Yokohama Tire. Super excited to give away a set of tires to a lucky individual, aka me.
Jimmy's taken all 25 of the last slots.
I have done a few, maybe. That would be funny if I won, but I definitely could use some tires.
Yep. Couldn't we all?
Couldn't we all? So anyways, if you want a chance to win, you need to get in and leave a review on Apple Podcast before we hit 750 to get yourself eligible to win the set of tires from Yokohama. The tires that you can win have to be DOT approved tires, and they have to be less than a 20-inch rim.
Yep. Cool. Lots of fun little giveaways. Lots of fun things we like doing with some cool partners on the podcast here. Some really cool vendors in the off-road industry that are backed by some really awesome people. So bringing everybody together. It's what we do here on the podcast. If you guys enjoy getting to work with the vendors and getting giveaway items and stuff like that, then please go and make sure you're supporting the vendors that we do have on the show. It does go a really long way to have that continued support in the future. So if you're looking at getting upgrading your OnX subscription, give them a call to do it. They're really fun to talk with anyways. They're really cool people over there. Give them a call and be like, hey, been listening to SnailTrail4x4 and I want to upgrade my subscription. They have a lot of good content and they talked me into it or something. I don't know. If you're looking at getting a new suspension for your Toyota vehicle, give Brian a call at 4 Wheel Underground and just chat with him. He's another fun dude. It's fun to chat with him.
Absolutely is.
So give him a call. Let him know that you heard about it over on SnailTrail4x4. And every time you guys do that, it just goes a long way. So the interviews we do on the show, give the company a call if you're interested in their product. Let them know you heard about it on SnailTrail4x4. And the more you guys do that, the more that we get more cool things for you guys here on the podcast.
Absolutely.
So it all goes around.
Yeah. In lieu of all that stuff, also we have a bunch of discount codes and affiliate links down in the show notes at the very bottom.
Yep.
So if you think we talked about somebody at one point and we might have a code that would work for you guys, just scroll down in the show notes and it might be down there. We do have, I don't know, around 10 of them at the bottom there for you guys to use at your convenience.
Yep.
Because we've worked partnerships that agree with the things that we do here on the podcast, and they agree that they want to give you guys a discount. So go and use it because that's what it's there for.
Yep. Sweet. I think that does it then for housekeeping stuff.
Sounds good.
I'm interested and a little afraid of today's topic.
I'm excited.
So we'll take a quick break while I gather myself and mentally prepare for this. And we'll be right on back with Jimmy torturing me today.
At 4 Wheel Underground, we have something for everyone's 79 through 04 Toyota vehicle. Whether you've got a Chevy Dana 60, 05 and up Super Duty, fabricated, FJ80, or mini truck axles, we got you covered. 3-link, 4-link, parallel, and triangulated suspension kits, we've got you covered. Under-bed coilover mounts, through-bed coilover mounts, trailing arms, cantilevers, custom-tuned coilovers, and air bumps, we've got you covered. Frame stiffeners, subframes, skid plates, shock towers, and more to come. Make sure to use coupon code SnailTrail at 4wheelunderground.com because we've got you covered.
Welcome back, everybody, to today's campfire discussion. This is Monday, so we like to do something that's kind of infotainment value-wise. Why, right? You get some kind of information, you get some kind of entertainment out of it. And Jimmy had somebody reach out to him with a question.
Yeah, a few questions. Yes, and I apologize. I'm scrolling IG right now to see if it pops out at me. But I apologize to the individual who I spoke with. I did not write your name down and it escapes me at this time. But I had a listener write in and said, hey, you guys should do a bunch of would you rathers. And I said, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I pulled the Rich Klein scenario. If you think this is a good thing, then you provide me with the service.
Yeah.
And I said, write down a bunch of would you rathers and I will ask them to Tyler without him seeing them.
Yeah.
And that brings us up today. I've had this in the pocket for at least 3 weeks because we had a bunch of interviews lined up.
That's true. Yeah.
And I was like, okay, maybe this week. Oh, wait, no, we have this interview. Oh, maybe this week. Oh, no, it's Blue Ribbon. Oh, maybe this week. And then, we're
Ken and John.
Ken and John. Yeah. Now here we are. Maybe a month.
Yeah.
So he wrote down about roughly 20, maybe 21 would you rathers.
Wow.
And
Okay.
I think they're going to be fun. There's
Are
some in
these
there
like
that
vehicle
are
related? Or?
they're all off-road related to one
Really?
extent or another.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
not any like
That's even better than I was thinking it was going to be like.
yeah, not like would you rather have jalapenos or chili rellenos or
Yeah.
whatever. No, they're all off-road related, all serious for the most part.
Okay.
I mean, some of them are pretty funny.
Uh-huh.
And I'm asking them to you, but some of
Yeah.
them would be an argument between you and I.
Okay.
Like
Are we
a
going to get back to the
serious-
TTTTTs?
Yeah, could definitely be.
All right.
So here, I'll just jump.
Would you
to
rather
the,
drive a truck or an SUV?
Yeah. Well, would you? This one is the one I'm looking at, which is number. Where to go? Number 12.
Okay.
Would you rather figure out radios or bonsais?
Jeez.
And
I would much rather figure out radios.
No, so you're absolutely wrong.
No, Jimmy.
Bonsais.
Jimmy, no.
It's an art form. Radios aren't an art form.
Our radios are totally an art form.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're so beautiful.
No, it's an art form, getting radios to be able to skip the radio signals through your atmosphere to talk to different countries based on your own infrastructure and power.
I think that's a science.
That's definitely not a science. It's an art form.
It's
You
a
have to know.
mathematical.
No.
You never know which way a tree's gonna grow, and you gotta
never know
sculpt it.
exactly how a radio wave is going to perform in the atmosphere.
Oh yeah,
Jeez, come on, man.
I have a bench full of bonsai trees.
I have a bench full of radios, Jimmy.
Which one do you think are prettier?
Radio.
No, absolutely not. 916-345-4744. Tell Tyler he's absolutely wrong.
Bonsais are dumb. You're just killing a plant. You're torturing plants. That's what
Yes.
you're doing.
They're not dead though.
Yeah,
Well,
but you're torturing.
they do
you're
die,
you're
but-
torturing.
Sometimes they die.
You're torturing a sentient being, Jimmy.
Radios are dumb. You're just talking to random strangers and you never get to see them ever again.
That's kind of the fun. That's what I love, going to hotel hot tubs.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, bear conventions. Let's see. Can I line this one out now?
Okay,
All right.
I'm interested. Let's get
That
dig
was
into
a
some
funny one.
Yeah.
That one popped out at me. Oh, I can line it out. Sweet. All right. So here we'll start back. We'll jump
All right.
into the off-roading ones. This one, he has it titled, What's Harder? There's a few of them here. Going up Walker Hill or going up Cadillac Hill?
I would say depends on your wheelbase.
Okay.
I think if you have either a short wheelbase or a long wheelbase, Cadillac is going to be harder. If you have
So you need a specific wheelbase to do Cadillac.
just to make it easy, yeah.
Okay.
Because a long wheelbase on Cadillac sucks on that tight little FUZ turn, right?
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the
Mhm.
hairpin. But if you have a really short wheelbase, then V-Rock and the waterfall suck going up.
Okay.
So if you have a medium wheelbase, 107, 108 to 115, anywhere in there, that's kind of the sweet spot for Cadillac, where Cadillac's just a cruise from there.
Sure.
So
Okay. So if you have 107 to 115, like you said, is that a good spot for Walker?
I mean, Walker, is that a difficult spot? Because the question was, what's more difficult?
Yep.
I don't really see Walker difficult. I think
either.
I think Walker is more about your ground clearance than wheelbase. There's a couple of little boulder sections, really one boulder section where if you don't have the ground clearance, it's just going to be a struggle bus getting through that spot. But if you have ground clearance, really Walker is not that big of a deal. I guess a short wheelbase would really suck on that one climb.
The very beginning.
At the very beginning.
Bottom Walker.
Yep. The bottom. That would suck with a really short wheelbase. But otherwise, I don't know. Walker is not really that bad. Just take your time and pick your lines at the boulder section. And if you want to risk rolling your rig, go in the V-notch.
Yeah. Well, and I think that, I mean, for the most part, taking what you're saying out is you're saying Walker's not that difficult, but you actually need to pay attention on Cadillac.
Yeah.
So therefore, Cadillac, by default, I'm making Cadillac more difficult by the way you're saying that.
For sure. Yeah. Especially because if you mess up on Walker, the the risk factor of messing up on a Walker is not that bad.
Sure.
There's not a whole lot. You're not going to roll off the side of a cliff, right? Whereas you mess up on Cadillac.
Yeah.
And you could die. Like,
sure. Yeah,
there have been deaths from people messing up on Cadillac.
Yes, there has.
And traffic on Cadillac is terrible. If you get any oncoming traffic on Cadillac, it's a very, very high risk spot to be in. Whereas traffic on Walker, not that bad. There's plenty of places throughout the entirety of Walker Hill where you can get and pass people safely.
Right.
So yeah, I think definitely Cadillac would be more difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What if you took the harder lines on Walker? Because there's not really harder lines on Cadillac. There's pretty much one route up Cadillac. Maybe there's like, you could take this corner wider, or you can take this one sharper, or squeeze between the rocks instead of going over a rock or something. But there are multiple lines on Walker.
True.
So what if you did like, instead of the ramp on the right at the lower Walker, you went on the left in the rocks, and then you stayed in the rocks the entire time, and then you did the V-notch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely trickier to do, I think, than Cadillac. If you took all the hard lines on Walker, it would be harder of an obstacle, in my opinion, than Cadillac.
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if you just wanted to drive up the hills,
yeah,
Cadillac's harder.
Yeah.
If you wanted to do the hard obstacles, Walker is more difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
good question.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
It's funny how that works.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Going up Big Sluice or going down? Wait, going up Big Sluice or going down Old Sluice?
Which would I rather? I'd rather go down Old Sluice. Old Sluice is just fun. If you have the correct armor and like the big boulder pile at the bottom of Old Sluice now, those boulders get moved around every year. So granted, last time I saw it, which was a year and a half ago, it wasn't really nearly anything like it was the one time I've been through Old Sluice.
Okay.
If the boulder pile is still like that, I'd love to go down Old Sluice again.
Okay.
Especially with my new suspension setup, and wider axles.
It'd keep you off that wall.
Yes and no, because with the Toyota axles, I could actually kind of squeeze down in that gully.
Sure.
Whereas the wider axles now, I'm gonna be up on that rock on the driver's side.
Okay.
So it might tip me over into the, what is that, quarter panel rock, or
yeah.
What is that rock called? I don't know. Going up Old Big Sluice, that's no biggie with the tree out of there. It's just a cruise. It's not difficult anymore at all.
Really.
They put a gabion in below. What's that obstacle? We just learned it recently.
Sawtooth.
Yeah,
Is it Sawtooth?
Yep.
Yeah.
So gabion at Sawtooth, so that helped solidify that area there, so it's not turning into big holes. Yeah. Going up Big Sluice it's almost too easy. Like I'd rather have some fun going down Old Sluice.
Yeah, I think I think going down Old Sluice, it would be more fun and more difficult.
For sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. I agree with that one. Yeah, I think with the squeeze tree gone, I didn't, being narrow and fairly kind of on longer side, the squeeze tree wasn't very difficult for me because I'm narrow already. So I fit between the rocks and I fit between the tree, and the length actually helped me going through that area because I wouldn't drop into both the holes at the same time. I would drop, my front would drop, and then I'd come out of that hole on the front, and then my rear would drop, and then I would pull out of that. And so the Bobcat's length and narrowness actually really helped with the obstacle at Big Sluice a lot. And it never was a very difficult obstacle for me.
Yeah.
But that said, I've never actually done Old Sluice.
So
it's kind of it's which would harder. I would definitely say Old Sluice. Old Sluice, would probably argue is the hardest part on the Rubicon Trail.
I would agree. Yeah.
Maybe there's sections, which I haven't done, but you have. Would you say that which is harder? Are there sections on the
Granite Loop?
Or is still Old Sluice the hardest?
I still think Old Sluice is the hardest, especially if you're going up Old Sluice. Sure. Going up Old Sluice, that's like the challenge on the Rubicon, right? If you can do that, you can do anything else on the Rubicon. The Granite View Loop is more fun, in my opinion, than Old Sluice. It's a 4-mile loop, right? 3-mile loop that goes through some really beautiful terrain, some really cool views, with 3 really fun climbing obstacles.
Oh, cool.
So it's the Granite View Loop is more fun. I think I would, if it came down to would I rather do the Granite View Loop or Old Sluice, I'd pick Granite View Loop any day, every day.
Okay.
But I do think if you want the biggest challenge on the Rubicon, go up Old Sluice.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That was a bonus question I just thought of.
Nice.
Would you rather go from Loon to Tahoma or Tahoma to Loon? And then which one's harder? Two questions.
Yeah. I would personally rather go Loon to Tahoma.
Okay.
I don't know if I can give it a specific reason why. I like the idea of climbing up things rather than kind of going down. I get, and I don't know if we're actually I guess we are losing elevation going from observation to Loon.
Sure.
So maybe that's what it is, but I feel like I'm just digressing. Right. If I'm going from Tahoe to Loon.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And I always get this feeling like the trail doesn't really matter anymore. And I'm just trying to get off the trail and go home if I'm going that direction.
Yeah, I get that.
And I'm like, I don't know, even though that may not be the case, I could just go up to Tahoe and be running the trail that way instead of running the other way. And
well, you did it last week.
Yeah. Well, I ran
Memorial
to the springs and back on Tahoe, but
you went to Tahoe and down.
True.
A little ways.
Yeah. So I don't know. I would rather run it Loon to Tahoe.
Yeah.
Personally. Which way is more difficult? Man, that's a good question. Because the obstacles are just they're all different coming back the other way. They're backwards, which is a lot of them are completely different obstacles going backwards. What is the Axle Hill? Is it Axle Hill?
Yeah.
Driveline Hill?
Axle Hill, I
think. Is it Axle Hill?
The one at a little ways after Winter Camp or Little Sluice on your way back.
It's like a double dip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going down that, no problem. Yeah. You just kind of go down, let gravity take you. But coming back up, can be a hard obstacle.
Yes.
Coming back up. What else? The obstacle right before Soup Bowl, that little rock garden ledge thing right before Soup Bowl.
On your way out?
On your way into Soup Bowl.
On your way into Soup Bowl from Loon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yes.
Yep. That on coming into that, it's kind of easy. You're kind of going down a little bit, but coming up out of it, you kind of got to pick your line a little more carefully to get up those rocks there and then the ledge at the end.
Yes.
So I think that way coming out is harder. The big ledge drop on Indian Trail.
Yes.
Obviously, it's easy going down.
Yes.
I think it's a little more scary going down for people. I think it's harder to come up it. But not much. You just need to know how to line up for it, I think.
Sure.
So that one is another obstacle that's harder going backwards. Difficult going in the steps on the other side of the bowl.
Yes.
That would be more difficult on your way in through Loon. Snail Hill is going to be more difficult coming in through Loon.
Yeah.
Got to put that. I just wanted to say it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. What else could be more difficult going in?
How about whale bones?
I actually find whale bones more difficult coming down it.
Me too.
Yeah. It's deceptive where you need to make the turn.
Yes.
When you're coming down it.
Yes.
And where you need to line up in order to make the turn. So you don't end up hitting the rocks on the other side, have to back up the hill.
Yeah. I have to do it every time.
Yeah.
I go, didn't turn soon enough.
Didn't nail it. Yeah. So whalebone's harder, going out Loon.
Yeah. Going down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
let's see. What's another one? Rev Limit Hill in Buck Island. At Buck Island, that ledge that people just get on and rev limit.
Yeah.
Definitely harder coming in than going out.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I think.
What about the big ones? How about Big Sluice?
Big Sluice.
How about Property Line?
Property Line's more difficult going out for sure.
Okay.
Going out loon. Because there's a couple spots in there where you just can't get a really good angle while you're climbing for some reason to make the turn.
And you got gravity helping you the other direction.
Yeah, exactly. So Property Line, definitely more difficult going out. Big Sluice, I wouldn't really put it difficult either way right now.
I think it'd be more difficult exiting to loon.
To loon, I guess, because you're going against
gravity.
That's
how I look at it. Almost all these obstacles, by the way. Whatever one you're going up is harder, whichever way it is.
Yeah. I would say that the corner at the top of Big Sluice, that's starting to get dug out. That's almost more difficult coming down for some reason.
Which corner? Coming down from Margarita Tree.
The next one.
The big rocky.
Yeah, the big rocky corner. I think that's more difficult going out than coming in.
Okay.
Sorry, coming the other way, coming in, then going out. For some reason, I can hit the line perfectly coming out of that, but it's really difficult for me to line up going in for some reason.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So Big Sluice, I would say coming in loon is more difficult. What are the other big ones? Little Sluice. I don't think I've run Little Sluice backwards.
I don't think I've ever ran it backwards either. Now that we're talking about it.
Yeah.
Because it's always a traffic jam, so you never go down Little Sluice.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not sure if Little Sluice would be more difficult forwards or backwards.
How about the Z turn?
The Z turn's more difficult going in loon, in my opinion.
In going to loon. Or from loon.
From loon to Tahoe.
Really?
I think going up it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I always have a harder time going down it.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I think it actually has to do with my turning radius.
Okay.
And I think the way my steering box isn't perfectly equal.
Uh-huh.
And so I can turn very well one way and turning.
That is a really tight turn for Bobcat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So going up the first ledge on my way into Buck is easy, but the big right-hand turn at the top is easy also. But exiting to loon, that now a left-hand turn, I can never make it.
Interesting.
Like I always, either I'm not wide enough to start or my turning is less than the other side or something. That always messes me up and I get put into the goalie there and just, this is stupid. Why are we doing this?
Gotcha. What about Soup Bowl? Or not Soup Bowl. I'm thinking the bowl, just the bowl. Anything on the granite bowl.
Well, the ledges I think are all
harder going in.
Yeah, going from in to Buck towards Buck. Yeah. So which way's harder?
I don't know. I think they're equal. I think they both have their merits. Gatekeeper. I think Gatekeeper's more difficult. Ooh, I don't know if it'd be more difficult either way. Maybe going out loon, just because of that little rock pile after the tight or before the tight squeeze as you're coming out.
I think Gatekeeper's easier, leaving the trail than entering.
Interesting. Okay. Especially if somebody unlocks one of your hubs.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a great question. I think personally, it's harder to wheel into from Loon to Tahoma, going that direction. And my only argument is that you're climbing more.
I get that makes sense. And now that you say that, every time we leave the trail, it takes like half the amount of time to come out Loon than it does to go in to wherever we got to.
Sure.
So I wonder if that's another indicator.
But
or
on the
if we're
flip
just
side, are you taking the easier routes to get out?
Just to get out and go home? That's a good question, right? I don't know.
Yeah. All right. That was a good one. I think that, it's fun either way. And I think enjoyable to do both ways. And you should, if you've wheeled it every single time from Loon all the way through to Tahoma, you should do it the other way.
For sure. There's an old saying with the Rubicon that you've never truly ran the Rubicon until you've done it forwards, backwards, and at night.
Okay.
Yeah. Then you've ran the trail.
I don't think I've done the entire trail at night,
Okay.
but I've done it forwards and backwards. Minus like maybe the little sluice, but
Yeah.
and old sluice, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right. This one is, what is harder, a
Mhm.
SAS or 3-link?
You mean leaf springs? Because
Yeah.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
you can solid
I'm
axle
taking
link.
that as leaf springs.
Okay. Definitely link.
Yeah.
Unless if you're building your own setup, linking is going to be way more difficult. If you're buying a pre-made kit, then for link geometry that has the geometry figured out, like we keep toting about 4-wheel underground, then leaf springs might be more difficult but cheaper.
Okay.
So
I could agree with that.
yeah, I think it more just depends on how much you want to, because like with 4-wheel underground's kit, their geometry is all figured out. The instructions are there. Where to place everything is already there, already figured out for you. All you have to do is tack it to your frame, cycle everything, make sure it all clears, and then burn it in.
Correct.
With a leaf spring setup, if you do it all yourself, depending what leaf packs you use, etc., you're going to have to square everything up yourself. You got to make sure all your brackets are set up properly. Yeah, that would be, I think leaf spring would be more difficult to install just because there's not a lot of people making leaf spring kits, I guess, anymore.
I mean, there are
WFO might have one.
rough stuff,
Skies
and
Off-Road.
Skies and trail gear.
Trail Gear would probably have them.
But still you have to, there's a fair amount of work either way. I think a lot of people do leaf springs because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
But I mean, for me, there was the part of drilling through your frame so you could put the shackle part through and you sleeve it and then you burn it back in.
Yep.
That was probably the hardest thing for the leaf springs.
Yeah.
Setting that all up. And if you're off, if that's at a funky angle, not square to parallel to the ground or square to the front of your vehicle, then you're burning through bushings.
Yep.
And every season you have to replace bushings.
Yep.
And, which doesn't sound that bad, but how often are you pulling your leaf springs apart to change the bushings is all up to you.
Yeah.
And so if you are, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I think if you're DIYing them, a linked suspension is more difficult.
For sure. Yeah.
If you're buying kits, they're either roughly the same. Yeah. I mean, the nice thing about linked kits is that if you're off by like 1, maybe 2 degrees on stuff, you're not going to have to replace Heim joints a lot. I mean, that's the nice thing about Heim joints is there's a lot of tolerance in them for having exact dimensions. Sure. It's a little more forgiving. Unlike
bushings, you're off by a couple degrees with a bushing, you're going to wear through those bushings.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a good question.
I think there's still more parts involved with a link kit.
I would agree. Yeah.
So if it's just comes down to it, there's just a little bit more complexity because there's more parts to it.
Might be more labor hours then to get everything installed. Is it more, would I still rather do that? Would it be easier labor hours than ensuring everything is square with a leaf spring setup and all your leaf spring brackets and your shackles and everything?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a good question. I guess depends on what kind of laser tools you have.
Yeah, sure.
I will say, watching Nate, Dirt Lifestyle Nate, he has a couple of laser line tools from the construction company, right? Construction companies use them all the time.
Yeah.
That you can set it up and then you have like this laser grid for making things square and lined up properly. And
cool.
If you're going to be setting up suspension systems or something, those are super nice to have.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, that's a good question also, man. Yeah. I think that it's right. I would say that if you're DIYing it, leaf springs are easier.
Mm-hmm.
If you're buying kits, I think leaf springs are still cheaper and they're roughly about the same difficulty.
Yeah.
There's just more parts that have to do with the linked setup.
Yeah, I would agree.
I think it's easier mentally to look at leaf springs.
Yeah.
Because it's like there's 3 connection points. It goes in the front of the vehicle, at the axle and then behind the axle.
Yep. Hanger, perch, hanger.
Yeah. Yeah. Hanger, perch, shackle.
Yeah. Right.
And with the linked setup, it's, frame, passenger side, upper link bracket.
Yeah. Frame side, upper link bracket on the front.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's a little bit more complexity for sure so I don't know. I think I would say leaf springs then are easier.
Okay.
But I would rather have a linked suspension. And I don't even have one. And I'm saying that.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. Packing. Is it harder to pack for a camping trip or cleaning up for it afterwards?
I got to say cleaning up for it afterwards.
Do you actually do that?
Cleaning up the camp to pack up and leave. Is that what he means? Or like cleaning up, like pulling the tent out, letting it dry off. And
that's how I took it, was doing your prep, your post prep or a pre prep or post prep.
I think post prep is still more difficult. Everything, like the way I do it is I have everything done after the trip. I don't sit there and have a lot of pre prep to do. I just grab stuff and throw it in the truck.
Oh, got it.
Right.
So your post prep is almost all pre prep.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
I always think that cleaning up after it is harder because I'm depressed.
I'm like, I'm not in the right state of mind anymore.
I want to be camping. Why am I taking this out of my vehicle?
Yeah. Mentally.
Yeah.
Got
mainly.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Packing for a camp. Oh, I just said that one. Fordyce in the summer or Rubicon with 12 inches of snow in the winter?
Would we rather or?
It was still under sort of the what's harder.
Oh, it is? What's more difficult?
Yeah. Almost all of these are pointed toward difficulty.
Okay. 12 inches of snow on the Rubicon or Fordyce during the summer. With my vehicle, I'd say Fordyce would be easier. There's just a lot of points when the Rubicon is under a foot of snow that you're not getting through.
Exactly.
It's just doesn't really matter what you're going to do. You're just not getting through. Now, Rubicon under 20 feet of snow, I have tracks. I may try that. I might try Rubicon under 20 feet of snow.
Yeah. There's still sections that you're not going to get through.
Yeah. I mean,
like you're not going to go up Cadillac.
Yeah, probably not. Yeah, probably not. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd still Fordyce during summer is going to be
maybe
easier.
the Ellis Bridge.
Yeah.
Like situation. I don't know.
You just go through the creek. The creek would be under all the snow, I'd assume at that point. So
yeah, maybe. Yeah. How about just Fordyce or versus Rubicon?
In summertime?
Yeah.
Rubicon, I gotta be careful. I gotta think now. Because we talk about going up Old Sluice is the hardest part of the Rubicon, right?
Okay. Is
that harder than all the easy lines through Fordyce? Right? Because then if you say that going up Old Sluice is more difficult than all the easiest way through Fordyce, then you could say Rubicon is more difficult than Fordyce. Or can be more difficult than Fordyce, right?
Yeah.
Logically, that's how that works.
Logically, that's how it could work. But you're comparing the hardest versus the easiest.
Exactly. Right. And so if you compare,
if you went easy,
yeah,
I would think that the easy line on Fordyce is the harder trail.
I would agree.
And hard versus hard, which is like sword fights, but
yeah.
Rubicon or Fordyce is still more difficult.
I still think Fordyce. I mean, if you look at the hard obstacles of Fordyce, I mean, you're looking at the box Windchill 3.
Yes.
The hard line on Windchill 4, the hard lines on 5. I would argue that especially the box on 3, that's going to be more difficult than going up Old Sluice.
Oh yeah.
So it's definitely, I think Fordyce is definitely a step higher in difficulty than Rubicon. But it'd be interesting to make the argument that going up Old Sluice is more difficult than the easiest way through Fordyce.
Yeah. I think that could be true.
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't know.
I'm thinking of 0.5.
Yeah, like 0.5, Winch Hill 0.5. There's no easy line through there. Winch Hill 1, the bypass, you have a bypass for Winch Hill 1, but it's no joke either.
No.
You've got Captain Morgan's.
Yeah.
Winch Hill 3.5. That's no joke. You've got there's no easy line through Winch Hill 4.
No.
Anymore.
There's only one way to go.
There's 2, but one is this tight, narrow, tiny little thing that only samurais can go through, really, in buggies. And then the other one is a clusterfuck of a climb. Yeah. So there's no easy line through Winch Hill 4. So I'm like, I don't know if you took all the easy lines through Fordyce, if it would still be easier than going up Old Sluice. I want to say it would.
I think it's one of those things like if we took which would be harder, all the easy lines on the Rubicon except for going up Big Sluice,
Old Sluice,
okay, or all the easy lines on Fordyce.
I think that's the nature of the question.
Because if you're just comparing one obstacle on the Rubicon to the entire trail of Fordyce, I would say collectively the entire trail easy lines is harder than the one line
through Old Sluice,
up Old Sluice.
I would agree to that. Yeah.
But there is not one spot individually easier on Fordyce compared to the most difficult part.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
Like if you said, is the easy line up Winch Hill 1 harder than going up Old Sluice?
No.
Right?
I mean, it's
2, 3,
easier.
4, 5.
Yeah.
The easy lines are all easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. I think you hit it right on.
Okay. You're welcome.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah. I like hearing those things too. I usually make the assistant repeat it if she says something like that. Yeah.
Can I get
Sorry,
the recording?
Wait, what? What'd she say? She goes, you were right. Not going to say it again. Would you rather? I'm going to not say this is what's harder. This is just a would you rather.
Okay.
Fix your rig or fix a friend's?
Oh, fix my rig for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
I'd rather fix a friend's.
My yes and no. Because when I go and fix my rig, there's definitely things where I'll cut corners on my rig.
Okay.
Whereas like if I'm fixing a friend's rig, I will do everything I can to not cut those same corners. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, it's much easier to fix my own rig because I'm the one that has to deal with it. So whatever.
My logic is my rig's fine. So I don't need to worry about it.
I never repair my rig. I don't know what you're talking about.
My rig's not broken. Their rig is broken. So I'd rather fix theirs because mine's still working.
Okay. All right, Jimmy.
Duh. Here's a good one. You ready?
I'm ready.
I don't think we have enough. I'm gonna put this one out there to blanket this statement that I don't think we have enough time with one of these individuals to make this argument.
Okay.
Would you rather hang out with Hussman or Uncle Pool?
I don't, man, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
I mean, neither of them, to be honest.
Yeah. Option C, please.
Do I have another option here?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I love both those guys.
Yeah, they're both fantastic individuals. I have to say Hussman.
Yeah, I mean, you've
Uncle
known
Pool.
him since childhood, right?
Well, high school.
Yeah, that's childhood.
So by default,
yeah,
he's my go-to. But I haven't spent time with Uncle Pool like ever. Like I really have he seems like a really great guy. He's doing some great things for Cal 4 Wheel. He has a phenomenal rig. He knows what he does, or he knows how to do things properly. But I really haven't spent much time with him. So in the case of that argument, I'd actually kind of like to hang out with Uncle Pool just to get to know the dude more.
Yeah.
So
fair.
I mean, I always love hanging out with Hussman, but I think just I hang out with Hussman a lot. So I'd rather kind of hang out with Uncle Pool because I don't know who he is.
Yeah. There's something to that. I don't know. They seem like, I agree. We've definitely hung out with Hussman quite a bit more than Uncle Pool.
Yeah.
But with that being said, they have very similar personalities.
Oh, they'd be BFFs.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
So they would just go off and hide themselves up in a hole fabricating shit forever. We'd never see them again. But
then they come out with like this DeLorean off-road vehicle.
Right. Right. So yeah, I don't know. Like knowing what I do know about Kevin, would I enjoy hanging out with him more than Hussman? I don't know. I think it'd be fun. I know how to solve this. We need to all go on a big trip together.
Done.
Just us four. And then at the end of the trip, we'll make a choice.
Which one of them comes out and which one of them doesn't?
That's funny.
Yeah. That was, I read that one. I was like, oh, I don't know how to answer that one.
Yeah.
All right. Would you rather, we're only on number like 8, by the way. So
we're going to make this a 2-part episode.
Maybe we'll get to 10.
Yeah.
And then we'll have you ask me.
Okay. The other ones?
The next ones.
All right.
Let me scratch that one out. Arrange a wheeling trip or work event. Would you rather arrange a wheeling trip or work event? Overland, off-road, arms, etc.
Work an event.
I think it's would you rather arrange a wheeling trip or would you rather work an event?
Arrange a wheeling trip. 1000%.
Yeah.
I used to think, and I think there's a lot of people out there that have the notion that working off-road events is really cool, really fun, and really enjoyable. And they are.
Once.
Exactly. Right. They are. I think everybody should have the opportunity to go work an off-road event. It is a lot of fun. It's fun getting to talk with everybody there at the events, talk about off-road stuff, etc. But, if your sole job is to work off-roading events, then you start getting burned out on off-roading events, right?
Sure.
I mean, I think our second or third year in Morflate, I intentionally was doing all the off-road events myself, as also kind of like trying to do them as my wheeling trips for the year as well.
Yeah, sure.
And it was terrible. I burned myself out. I was like, I don't want to do this. Like I was questioning whether I still wanted to do Morflate after that year. And I was like, it completely burns you out. So I 100% would rather do wheeling trips.
Yes. You would rather arrange
wheeling trips for sure. I would rather plan them out, arrange them. I'm good with planning and arranging stuff.
Yeah.
So that comes easy and naturally to me. But yeah, off-road. I wanted to preface that with off-road events are not bad.
Sure.
They're a lot of fun.
Yeah, they are.
But I would not want to, I still need my wheeling trips.
Right.
That's how I reset mentally. Right.
Okay.
So that's me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you want to work a wheeling trip, just call Sean at the Morflate line and tell him that you want to work at whatever wheeling or whatever event, and they'll set you up with your own booth.
I mean, that is not far from the truth.
Oh, really? I was just making that up.
We started. So last year we were playing around some ideas called a regional mobile dealer.
Okay.
At Morflate, where it's people that just love going to off-road events.
Sure.
And I think those people are very special. If you love going to off-road events, that's your jam, and you love like the idea of working events, contact me. You're a valuable person in the off-road community, in my opinion. So we found a couple people that just wanted to do that. And I was like, well, there's no way for Morflate to get to Ohio.
Sure.
And do an off-road event in Ohio. So if you want to do the event, we created a contract 1099 position called a regional mobile dealer that allows you to go and represent Morflate at off-road events. We pay for your registration. Whatever you sell at the event, you keep the profits of.
Oh.
So you're essentially a mobile retailer.
Interesting.
And we pay for your way into the event. We send you the event booth setup stuff. All you have to do is decide how much product you are feasibly able to take to that event. And whatever you sell, you get to keep the profits of. And if you have anything left over at the end of the event, you have to buy it as your inventory, right? Because I'm like a retailer, but you can then sell it at your next event or whatever.
Oh,
so it's designed to help take advantage of those people that just love going to events and want to make some extra cash too.
Okay.
So
that's cool.
Hit me up if you're interested. I mean, we're looking at expanding the program. I haven't talked too much about it at all with very many people because it really takes the right personality to do this and not get burned out. And if you have the right personality for it, it could be a great match, but you need to have the personality for it because it's very easy to burn yourself out doing off-road events.
Yeah.
So
they're a lot of work.
They are.
Yep. We've done you and I have done quite a few of them.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. But they are fun.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but the thing is what I've learned about doing, I've done a lot of off-road events. And then when I was corporate James, I did a lot of very high end, like,
medical events.
Yeah. Medical events, assemblies and stuff. And it's a job. Like you should not work all day, go party all night, to wake up the next day to try to work all day, party all night, and then do it again.
Yeah.
Like most of these things are 3 days long, and that's what kills you. You need to work all day, sit back, have a whiskey, talk to some friends, go to bed at a regular hour.
Yep.
That's the only way you can continue to do it. Because if you're going to work, wheel, party, come back, work again, you're not going to make it.
Yeah.
That's not the right personality to be doing this as much as the events are fun.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. Rebuilding a T case or rebuilding an axle?
Oh, axle.
You'd rather rebuild an axle?
Yep. I don't know why it is. I love axles. Axles are so cool. It's my favorite part of a vehicle. I think the differentials are my favorite part of a vehicle.
Okay.
But axles are really cool. And I don't know what it is, why I think they're so cool, but 1000% I would rather rebuild an axle. I'd rather build an axle from scratch than rebuild a T case.
Okay.
So.
Wow. We're going to do two more.
Okay.
And we so this is 10 and 11, and we did number 12, the radios or bonsais.
Okay.
So there's 7 more on this list. Maybe we'll reach out to the community and say if you have if you would like to throw a would you rather out to me for Tyler to ask me, where should they do that?
Instagram would be the best way.
So reach out to you on Instagram?
Yep.
All right. So 4x4 Toyota Tyler.
Yep.
Message him with a would you rather, and he'll keep a list, and then I'll send him the rest of these. And then we'll probably do this next Monday.
Cool.
For me. Fun. Okay. So 2 more for you. Sierra Trails.
Okay.
Or Moab.
Sierra Trails.
Yeah.
Moab's cool. And what's enticing about Moab is you can just do stuff in Moab that you should not be able to do in a vehicle.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what's impressive about Moab. Like, to me, at least, some people love the scenery of Moab, and it is it's very humbling, I should say, at these very vast expanses of scenery with these really cool canyons. It's very humbling in Moab, but I don't like deserts.
Yeah, I think there's a beauty of desert. Like the deserts are beautiful. Yeah. There is a beauty to it. I prefer green.
I do too.
Sorry.
I don't know what it's like. I take the two contrasts. I went to Moab for a week and a half, and then I was like, yeah, this is cool. It's cool to be here, but it wasn't like,
yeah.
And then when I went to the Rubicon for Memorial Day, driving in through Tahoma, I was like it just, I don't know what it is. It's something about evergreen trees, redwoods, pine trees, everything there. It's that's my jam. Right.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Well, let me flip it.
Okay.
Which is harder?
For me personally, Moab.
Yeah.
I think, and that's mainly, I think just because, I'm not used to being in Moab. So I don't have, my vehicle is not set up for Moab trails, right? My vehicle is set up for High Sierra trails. So, I've tried to make improvements to the vehicle, the wider stance, a little bit lower, in order to do better in Moab. But it's still, I mean, Moab's tough just because I think I'm just not used to Moab, right?
Sure.
I haven't figured out the intricacies of Moab yet.
Yeah, absolutely.
So whereas,
and you know,
I know the High Sierras.
Yeah. You know what you need to air your tires down to. You know how to deal with dry or wet rocks and all the above, where Moab's a little trickier.
Yep.
I think that there's, in regards to which one's more difficult, I think there's a higher level of risk on some of the Moab trails that the Sierras don't necessarily have.
I would agree. Yeah. I mean, look at Moab Rim.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Well, I'm looking at, and then there's all like, even just Widowmaker.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's not even that, like what's around it isn't that difficult.
No.
Like you're not going to fall off a cliff, but if you don't make it up, you got a very hard time coming back down.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Where like if you're stuck in the box on Winch Hill 3, you're either on your side or on your lid or just stuck.
Yeah.
You're not in danger.
Yeah.
You just need to, it'll be like 4 hours of how the heck get you out of there.
Yeah, exactly.
But
call a helicopter to lift your rig out of there.
Yeah. So I think that Moab has a higher level of difficulty, just due to risk levels.
I would agree. I think Moab is definitely a riskier place to go wheeling if you're doing those risky trails. Cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Rusty Nail. Pritchett, high risk trail, Moab Rim, high risk. There was another one in there. It's a high risk trail. But like if you're doing fins and things can even be a high risk trail.
Yeah.
You mess up and go 5 feet off of the line on the fins of fins and things, and you're fucked.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Hell's Revenge. There's a couple high risk places in Hell's Revenge. So yeah, I mean, I would agree to that. The traction is awesome. You can do a lot of really cool things that a vehicle should not be able to do in Moab. But if you mess it up, you're in some really bad spots in Moab.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed. I agree with that. All right. Last one for you and maybe me. This one's kind of an either or of us. Would you rather deal with customers or suppliers?
Man. Customers.
Really?
Yeah. I was trying to think if I can, because my first initial gut instinct was customers all the time. Cause I love chatting with people in our industry. The off-road community, the off-road industry has some really cool customers. But I was like, but there's still every once in a while you get that one customer that you're just like, oh my, can I just refund your order? I don't want to deal with you anymore.
Yeah.
Like I'm just refunding your order. Go somewhere else.
I'll pay you to leave.
Yeah,
me
I'll pay you. All right. So like blanket statement, always customers. No, but I would say 99% of the time. I think I love chatting with our customers. The people we have in the off-road industries are really cool. A lot of fun people. It's in my opinion, one of the best industries you can be involved in. If you're having a customer business relationship with somebody. It beats the pants off of like the jewelry industry or,
oh my gosh,
or whatever other industries are out there. Automotive industry. I wouldn't want to be in the automotive industry right now. I think, I wouldn't want to be in the automotive industry right now. So like, I don't know. I think customers are awesome in our industry. And I think it's based on our industry. If I worked in another industry, I might have a different answer.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree, even though I'm not a fan of customer service. And every time I think somebody is getting a hold of me, it's because of a bad thing.
Right.
Like, what did I screw up on now?
Yeah.
Even when that situation comes around, the customer is still 99% a really cool person.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, you forgot this. I'm like, I'm so sorry, man.
You're totally right.
You're totally right. I screwed up. I'll send it out immediately.
Yep.
They're like, cool, thanks.
Yep.
It's like... You're not going to yell at me?
Yeah.
Like, I did a bad thing. Like, I messed up your order. Like, you're not going to yell at me? No,
Yeah.
they're like, no, that's cool. You're taking care of it. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like, sweet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
I think the customers, I would rather deal with customers than suppliers. Now, suppliers aren't, I like some suppliers because they are also in this industry.
Mhm.
Almost all of my suppliers are in this industry. So
Yeah.
it kind of makes that fun.
Mhm.
And that's one of the things I like that I did with Snail Armor that I really enjoy is because I'm using suppliers that are in the off-road industry to create off-road products.
Yeah.
And so they're usually pretty cool to work with. But there's a level with customers that it's more of a friend basis and suppliers are more of a business.
Yeah.
So I think that there's, I'd rather have the friend than a business side of things.
Yep. Yeah, I would agree. I think that's true too. I think it can be easier to deal with suppliers because with suppliers, it's business to business transactions, right? So you say something, it's done. There's no beating around the bush. There's no, like, we have some customers that will want to pick up their orders and come to the warehouse and pick them up. And then they stood around for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's fun. It's fun to get to know them. But at the same time, we need to get work done.
Right.
Whereas you go to a business, a supplier, and it's like, get your shit done and get out of there.
Mhm.
And so there's a time efficiency thing that I value working with suppliers. But you don't always have great suppliers. And sometimes your options to get good suppliers are very little to not there.
Right.
So you just have to deal with the bad ones, and you definitely get those frustrating suppliers, but you're like, you don't really have anywhere else to go. So you just have to deal with it.
Right.
And so,
Yeah. I have that love-hate relationship with Brad at Hot Metal Fab, who cuts all my panels.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes I've got shit I need to do, and I show up and we talk for like an hour and a half. I'm like, Brad, I gotta go. Like, you're my supplier. I'm supposed to walk in here, take this shit, and leave.
Yeah.
And we end up talking fab, or like he goes, look at this thing I'm building over here. Like, or we talk about just how to do something, some process, and so sometimes I have to walk in there going, Brad, I gotta go in like 20 minutes. Like, I have to be out of here in 20 minutes. Like, I can't hang out all day.
Yeah.
He's like, you want a Miller Lite? I'm like, no, Brad. I gotta go 20 minutes. But sometimes I'm like, man, this was a fantastic trip. I loved hanging out with you. I learned something, like he's a cool dude. He's fun. And it's just a fun place to be. So if you need any work done, go to Hot Metal Fab.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was fun. It was almost a snail mail.
Yeah.
Almost. Because in a way we didn't have to think of the content, but it did bring up some interesting topics.
Yeah.
Short, quick, interesting topics. Like which way was harder on the Rubicon? I mean,
that one.
I've always assumed that I've always taken it to granted that just going from Tahoma to Loon is easier, but you made a case in point that there was a lot of obstacles that are harder going that direction. So yeah, that was fun. That was a good question. Sorry, I forgot who gave them to me. They'll just
have to call and leave us a voicemail with another question. So,
or write Tyler some questions for me, and then say I was the one that was giving all the other questions.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. We have we have 13 through 20, so we have seven more to go. The last one has a big smiley face at the end of it, so I think it's more of a poking the bear situation than a would you rather. But yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I did too. And if you go to a bear convention, you can poke lots of bears.
Oh yeah.
So
yep,
keep
absolutely.
that in mind.
So we said it a little earlier, but if you want to get a hold of Tyler to leave him a would you rather for me, you can do that at 4x4 Toyota Tyler. If you have any questions for anything for me, you can hit me up SnailTrail4x4. You can email us, Jimmy or Tyler at SnailTrail4x4. Or you can leave us a would you rather on our snail mail episode, which is 916-345-4744, and we can answer it there.
I like it. Send them in. We love hanging out and chatting with you guys, and all the kind of back and forth banter that happens with some of you, like Hussman and Uncle Pool. So
absolutely.
Everything Jimmy said, get in contact with us. James Hydrojet, how are we wrapping up this episode today?
I've just been thinking about lawnmowers on the Rubicon. I don't know why.
And with that, my friends, keep crawling. Do you have any jokes, senor?
I do. I do have a joke.
I have a joke.
I have a joke. Why was 2019 afraid of 2020? 2019 afraid of 2020?
Because 2021, because 2020.
You're on it.
Because
Because they had a fight in 2021.
Okay.
You were close.
All right.
You had the idea.
Yeah, like I started putting it together. I was like, well, 2021 something, but it's, I don't know.
Why is 6 afraid of 7?
I say I don't get that one.
Because 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, I don't get it.
They ate it. Like for dinner.